Hello and welcome to the How to Travel Vegan podcast. I'm your host, Tom Simak, and today we're interviewing Carlo Cirillo. So I'm really excited to get into today's episode with my good friend Carlo. You may find his voice a little bit familiar because he's a meditation teacher in the new app Bloom. He's also a keynote speaker, a coach, a mentor, and he hosts the Conscious podcast. There is so much goodness inside his brain, and we're going to get into the midst of topics like ethical and sustainable business models, the effect of associating veganism with your personal identity, and how to live life according to your moral compass. But with all that said, let's get right into the episode. Carlo, my man.
Tom, my brother.
It is
my plant-based brother.
My plant-based brother. It is amazing to have you finally on the show because you are one of the really prime foundational reasons why I have this podcast going. So it's really cool to have it full circle. Me come on your show. Now you're on mine for the 50th episode, halfway to 100, which
Whoa.
is, yeah, man, it's crazy. Your one's going a bit further than that, but tell me, how's your day?
Firstly, thank you so much. We are really good friends. If someone doesn't tell from our profiles and all that, yeah. And to see how much you've grown with your podcast and how far you've taken it and the success of it is freaking awesome. And to be on here is, I'm honoured.
Thanks, brother.
This is really cool. How's my day been? Okay, so I'm great. I've had a very good morning in terms of work, in terms of gym at 5:45. Going into the office for a little bit and then spent a bit of time with you. We filmed a video reviewing a certain plant-based Hungry Jack's burger options, and that was okay. Stomach's feeling at the moment, but that was fun. It's good to see you again because we haven't seen each other in a while. So now I'm here recording a podcast with you. How could life get any better than this?
It cannot. That is a big... I got all the questions on my laptop, so I'm just going to open
That's
that
okay.
Anyway. So just for everyone who doesn't know the famed Carlo Cirillo, can you give us a quick 2 minutes on your life and your vegan journey? Like, we can be from the start or just now what you're up to.
Amazing. 2 minutes. Okay. Very quick one.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up in a small country town of Mildura. I grew up being the soccer player. Spent 15 years playing that. It took me overseas. I represented my country, my state, played for 10 different teams, won all the different awards, and I loved it for most of the time. And then kind of had I've had multiple identity crises, and it kind of led me to, what do I want to do? Is this something I want to do? Which led me into another path, which then led me into another path and another one, where now I'm in a place where I do what I love and I love what I do. I'm a connection coach and meditation teacher, podcast host, and a multitude of other things. I help people connect with themselves, connect with the people around them, their community, and also connect in with their purpose to then have the biggest impact they can. And then I guess for me, where my plant-based journey began was back in, can't remember the dates. It was like 2013.
It's like 7 years ago.
Yeah, that was our days back in network marketing.
Goodness.
Just before we met, and got introduced to it by an AFL footballer and holistic nutritionist at the time. And he said, try it. I tried it for a week. Loved it. He goes, all right, I challenge you to do a month. It will help you with your performance. I was just about to go overseas. And I did it, and it was a slow transition. It wasn't an overnight thing. I did have to wean off a few things, the eggs, the cheese, the things that I can't live without.
Yeah, of course.
And then as soon as it transitioned over, it was like, this is so easy and you feel so good. I don't see it as hard or any different. So for me, it was definitely for health reasons at the start, and then slowly going into it and getting more educated on it, it was like, okay, this is much more than how I'm healing my body. It's also how I impact the planet as well.
Yeah, being an athlete, when you first made that vegan transition, did you find that you were overcoming different challenges to what you'd think an average person would overcome?
I think because I had been living on my own since 16 anyway, I was cooking my own meals and stuff like that. I made the decision on what I ate So yeah, it was learning a few things on how to replace, the norm staples of meat and eggs and stuff like that. But because I had my friend Matthew Bate, who was a holistic nutritionist, I would be messaging him every day. What should I eat? What do you eat as an athlete to keep peak performance and to hit your calories for the day? And these were amazing meals that I still cook today. So yeah, whole foods.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people are so impressed with the Game Changers documentary,
Yep.
because it hits such a big niche that I feel like it's really the first time it's happened, and they've hit it
Yeah.
so well.
Yep.
James Wilkes did such a good job
Yeah.
directing that and partaking in it, and that it was. Have you seen Game Changers?
Yes,
What
I
do you
have.
think of it?
So for me at the start, I've watched all the documentaries, the plant-based ones as well, and there's some cringeworthy ones. I think it was really informational. I think, and for the people the reactions I've had from people that aren't plant-based that watch it, they go, "Oh, it's so biased. They were just talking about plant-based." Of course it is. It's a plant-based documentary. Why else would you watch it? It's yes, of course they're not going to show everything because it's a 1 hour documentary. How are you supposed to show everything? Just like if there's a documentary on why bacon is the most healthiest thing in the world, it's not going to have a vegan nutritionist on there saying no. It doesn't make sense. So for me, it was like I loved it in the terms of him going from being an athlete at the top of his game, transitioning and getting even better. And then the athletes that endorse it, I think that's what for me, not so much for me because I knew it already,
Yeah, of course.
but for other people is like, oh, Novak Djokovic, Lewis Hamilton, all these people that it's like, okay, it's not just a thing that the hippies are doing, it's
Yeah.
eating or the vegans are doing, it's
Yeah.
plant-based has so many benefits
Different
to it.
facets, different types of people, and,
Yeah.
and the hippie one went for so long, and I think
Yeah.
this really kind of stirred the pot a little bit in the opposite direction. Who were you most impressed at in this documentary?
Most impressed with
Yeah,
the
well,
person on there?
when I watched it, I'm like, man, this runner, the guy that ran for like 40 straight days.
Oh,
Oh
the
my god,
marathon
that
runner.
like
Yeah.
what happened? Broke his leg or strained a muscle like 2-3 days in or
Kept
something like
going.
that. Kept
Yeah.
going, and that blew my freaking mind.
I think the one for me was when he was doing the battle ropes, and he went for like 40 minutes when he could normally
Oh
only go
yeah,
for like
yeah.
8. Was
Dude,
like
battle
the
ropes
max.
are so hard.
Yeah, no, I'd be lucky to last a minute on those. But
Seriously.
I think, yeah, I just think it's the amount of athletes I've met. Morgan Mitchell coming from, it's Morgan, wasn't it? The runner, the sprinter.
Oh man, I don't know
Yeah,
their
she's
names.
from Werribee.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
To be able
that's right,
to,
she is,
I've seen it like Matt Bate and all that, and Peter Siddle and people like that are living that lifestyle. It doesn't surprise me anymore. I think, and that's why watching it again and seeing how, what's his name? The guy that,
James Wilkes.
James Wilkes,
Yeah.
go through that was like, oh, that's cool. And that's why it's having such a big impact because the people with the most influence are now endorsing it and have tried it and are doing it. And it's proving. Yeah.
I think the biggest one out there that's kind of making that influence is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's really
what What was his thing in his pumping iron? You lived like a vegetarian.
Yeah.
And now he's a vegan. Go figure.
Yeah, go. Is he vegan or is he vegetarian? I have no idea. One of those.
Yeah.
One of those. He's making the change. One thing I did want to talk about, since you're in that big coaching realm and into gratitude and things like that, is associating yourself with the word vegan. I know this is a vegan podcast, but
Yep.
do you think there can be negative associations if you start clinging to the word vegan?
Yes. Just because the name that some people have given that group of people, if that makes sense. So there's people in different religions that have given that religion a bad name and are seen in society as, oh, you're this, therefore, oh, I think this about you. It's just a preconceived judgment in their mind already. I know that for me, there was a period of where I went hardcore, like, I'm a vegan, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, and I started like putting that title on myself, and it's like, I eat vegan, I choose to eat plant-based, but that I'm Carlo. Like that doesn't define who I am, but I'm super passionate about it. How can I inspire more people whenever I said vegan, it'd always be met with something, an abusive comment or something like that. That's where plant-based kind of stuck in for me because it wasn't just about again, it transitioned over time. It wasn't just about eating vegan, because you can eat unhealthy vegan.
Yeah, you can be
Like
junk food vegan for sure. Yeah,
we did that before with Hungry Jacks. Like you
not
can
doing
do
that
that,
again.
but from what I've researched, and it's not, haven't got any masters or degrees in nutrition or anything, it's seeing the benefits of a holistic plant-based diet, how that benefited me. And I think, that for me, I do I tell people and openly will say I'm plant-based. We have a plant-based Instagram, a
Yeah.
joint account for both of us, that I tag in my posts. I put up my meals and say all plants, baby, all this, because I seen my way. And again, it's no right or wrong whether who's saying vegan or not or plant-based is the best way. For me, it's like when I did that, I got met with a lot of hostile. When I did it this way, I got met with a lot of curiosity. Like, hey, oh, you're doing it. You played soccer. You did really well. You lifted a trophy last year. You had the best season of your life. You don't eat meat? What?
Yeah.
Like, we're at the
Yeah.
barbecue after training, and me and my friend Nathaniel are having like the vegan sausages. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, don't you need to have meat? And I'm like, bro, it's been 7 years. Am I dead? Am I wasting away? No, I'm in the best shape of my life. And that was a prover for me. Like, if something didn't work, I wouldn't keep doing it. And I don't just try something for 3 days and go, oh my God, I can't have junk food and all and Whoppers and whatever. No,
Yeah.
I commit to something, that I do it, and I find a way, and I try all those elements for me. So I think the title can be met with some resistance just because of what those people have been shown in the past. Right now, there's a lot going out there. Every newspaper, not that I read them, social media, all of that, the stuff coming out is so widespread that you can't ignore it.
No, you can't. But it's also, I feel like when someone's attached themselves to this word vegan, it also means that if someone were to be offended by that and give you an abusive comment or come across very arrogant,
would be offended.
you take
Yeah.
that offense. So how would you then tell someone's like, hey, maybe take a step back from veganism? Is there certain questions you'd start asking yourself, or you'd start just saying, okay, this is hurting me, so let's stop doing this?
Take a step back, as in using that title.
Yeah, using that title, but also how do you deal with, or how did you first initially deal with people coming to you with straight up arrogance?
my first like year was like, if you're not vegan, you're not my friend. If you're not vegan, you're closed-minded. You don't know nothing. And this was people that were, I'd post things, and they wouldn't be bad. They're definitely open ideas and open conversation. But I'd have friends that are studied as dietitians, nutritionists in the whole palette of food, and they started saying their things, and they're like, why, what are you coming from in terms of what information do you have? Can you prove this? And for me, it was like, I can't. And when I was going, vegan is the way, vegan this, vegan that, again, there's nothing wrong with that. But again, like you were saying, if you're identifying yourself as vegan, and look, I know some people love that for the community, and they connect with a lot of vegan people, and they have similar values, and that's why they connected. Great. But if you're disappointed or upset for some reason, again, you've got to look at your values and look at why is somebody else, their opinion of you or what you do or how you eat or how you live your life, why is that affecting you? And remember that you are you before your choices in what you eat, what you do for a job. Like I don't titles. I'm not like, hey, I'm a coach. I'm a coach. It's like, I'm Carlo. What I do for work as a coach, how I choose to live my life is plant-based. I love traveling and all this. If someone then comes to me and goes, I don't like that, it's like, cool. You do what you want to do. But at the end of the day, I'm Carlo. And however I go to put that across to someone is my choice, and I don't take that offense to it.
That's really cool. I'm going to take a little spin on it because you did mention, like, you played soccer for so long.
Yep.
And you were also, like, obviously at your peak state when you were eating a plant-based diet. What advice would you give someone who's maybe potentially starting or wanting to further their athletic prowess,
Yep.
I guess, and is in that vegan diet needs to have like a good routine or might need to eat a certain way. What did you find that helped you along that journey?
I think like with anything, like with even if you're going to the gym to work out, I can go into the gym and think I know what I'm doing and go with all the best intentions and flap around with some weights and get no results over 6 months. I think it's not just about showing up in all areas of life, but especially in what you eat, especially becoming a vegan, transitioning from a meat eating diet. Going into something that's completely new, like me walking into a gym for the first time, ask for help. Get help from someone that's been there before and knows what to do because your body's unique to you. I thought that following somebody else's way, that can start you on the journey, but test a few different ways to see what works. I know I went down this route for maybe 2 weeks of I'm going to be a fruitarian and just eat fruit. And it was like, yeah, but I feel like shit.
I've had that. I've had that.
Yeah.
2-3 weeks of fruit makes sense. I now just ate bananas for a few days.
That's the ultimate vegan diet.
It's a level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, as an athlete, it's like you just need to, especially if you're trying to build muscle or maintain for sport. Again, you can look at Game Changers and all these other studies that, in terms of endurance, recovery, performance, plant-based diet has its benefits. If you're transitioning, try it, but get help because if something's not working for the first week and you're trying it yourself, there could be so many different reasons. You might be allergic to something. You might have what's the word when you can't have something?
I don't know, celiac when you can't have gluten.
Yeah,
Just
when you're
intolerant.
Intolerance to something, your body might react to a different fruit or something a different way. That you need to just give it time and find what works for you, and remember that it's always I think it's input versus output. Like you need to eat a certain amount of calories. You can't eat 3 bananas a day and have enough energy to sustain yourself for.
Did you ever track your macros when you were an athlete?
Slightly. I think it was when my best mate was like, we need to see what's going on if you're full lethargic and exhausted all the time. What's not happening? Because he wasn't a vegan or plant-based, but he was a PT, Aiden, our good mutual friend. And for that, I was like, okay. And he wasn't biased to it. He was like, but you have to hit enough calories. Like that's just, you need to sustain yourself. When I started to hit that, I noticed that it was like, I feel just as good as before, if not better. Cleaner, lighter, stronger, all those things.
Could even be a trial. So if you have like a routine and you're like, I eat pretty much the same, like you have the same thing for breakfast most days, and you could even just track it for like a week or two and just know this is what my average week looks like. I can then safely say I hit my macros every day. Or if not, okay, let's add an extra meal between these 2 meals, or add a freaking peanut butter to my smoothie. I don't know. All of that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's really cool. I wanted to talk a bit more now on another spin, because you've had your athlete side and you've run a few vegan businesses as well through your time, which is awesome. And the world always needs vegan businesses to come out. And you also know a lot of people who run vegan businesses. What do you kind of see that these businesses do that other businesses do not, that helps them succeed, especially when you're vegan? How hard is it to be sustainable and eco-friendly? And what are the challenges that these businesses have to tackle that maybe others don't?
Great question. I think that trying to be 100% eco-friendly, sustainable and all that definitely comes at a price. But in saying that, that's why those companies have products that are priced the way they are. Now, we go to the supermarket, which is definitely changing right now, that you would go or buy a product. It's a lot more for that same thing you could get, obviously a little bit different and varied, from a chain that has lots of those things, like a clothing company that produces millions of that thing, whereas these are smaller. They use sustainable cotton. They don't, no slave workers and stuff like that. Like, it's all done ethically and sustainably, and you're paying maybe sometimes 3 times the price. That's your choice in that. And I think from starting a business like that and trying to tick all those boxes, it was hard, because one of the businesses was, Snackbox Co. plant-based box. You know, these products came in packages. Like, that wasn't me doing that. It was the companies that I then bought the products off.
Yeah,
So
the plastics and
you would do your best, and that's all we can ever ask from someone.
Mm.
You can choose. Like, I didn't add, certain additives of like plastic cards or stuff like that in there. Waste. Like, we know that. Like, we don't have to send an invoice by paper. We can email it.
Yeah.
Simple things like that. And I think that companies are making the shift. I can see it everywhere. H&M has conscious teas now, which is super cool. So it's organic, fair trade, all of that stuff. We're seeing a lot of companies come out of it, and whether that's a marketing thing, I get it. But as long as in the back end they're making those ethical choices, then awesome. I think there's, like, for example, I worked in packaging for 2 years back home, and I was selling food service packaging, so like coffee cups, everything that comes with that, containers, all of that. We had a range that was your stock standard, no bio-friendly stuff. Another range, a level up, that was all your bio-friendly, all of that, which was at a decent price, compostable, all of that.
Yeah.
Then there was the premium, which was like your bio grow, bio cup, the stuff you see everywhere with the green label around it, which was your premium price. But they did everything Mickey Mouse. Like, it was unreal. Their branding, their processes, their everything, because it was all, you could literally compost the lid of a coffee cup. But your price, and we did custom printing and all that sort of stuff. Your price for this cup here, that was the cheap option that wasn't all of that. Let's say it was 8 cents a cup, right? You're selling a coffee for what, $4 now.
Yeah.
Nothing. This cup was 12. 4 cents different. Now, when you look at that, you're like, hell yeah, I'd pay 12 cents. I'd probably pay 20 cents if it was that.
Yeah.
But as a business that's selling tens of thousands of coffees a month or a year, that adds up to a couple of grand. Now, to you and me, it's like, but the environment, like, that's the whole thing. And I think when I was selling them, I wouldn't even give them that option. But they would look at this option and look at their other suppliers and go, they're cheaper. And I'm like, yeah, but they're not compostable. Like, don't you get that you'll get more customers because people want to make...
Yeah, people want to support that. They want to be a part of the bigger cause. And that's, you want to make that as easy and as accessible as humanly possible.
100%. And it's not I think you can be used to manipulate people in marketing and all that. But if there is a choice... this is a bad example. It's 100% recycled, this water bottle. But like a coffee cup, going to a coffee place that was your big chains that don't use biodegradable stuff versus a small chain that I'm paying, let's say that's $3.50 for a coffee, or this one's $5, but they use all BioGrow, it's compostable, they probably have bins there as well. I would make that choice because of my values. Now with that, I understand from a business point of view that it's money at the end of the day, but I think that they're starting to wake up to, yeah, cool, more people will support you if you go the other option.
Yeah.
And not just vegans and plant-based people. It's the environment, it's the world, people that want to vote with their dollars.
Yeah, voting with your dollar is so freaking powerful, especially when it comes to shopping at Coles and Woolies. That reminds me of like, oh, but one vegan can't make a difference. It's like your dollar makes a difference. Like I was chatting to my mum just the other day about like environmental sustainability, and she gets like the little plastic bags, like the apples and stuff. Like, it's not only the environmental implications; those plastics are getting absorbed in the apple that you're eating.
Yeah,
like that's so bad for you. And I think documentaries like Plastic Ocean on Netflix and things are really bringing that to light. And was it Coles or Woolies that vowed to do no plastic bags? And now Tasmania has fully banned single-use plastics at shops.
Wow. Yeah.
So the change is happening, which is awesome to see, because 3 years ago this was hippie mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
And people are really like, you think people don't have money, like, oh, I wouldn't pay an extra $1.50 for a coffee, but people freaking do.
Yeah.
People do, because your values, like opportunity costs, like that $1.50 that you're not paying for that cup of coffee is gonna bloody haunt you.
Yeah. Because
when you look at the rubbish bin with the rubbish or recycling, firstly, you know that if there's even a bit of coffee in there, that's going to contaminate the recycling portion. That's all wasted, but it's not even compostable, not biodegradable. So I think voting with your dollar is such a powerful thing to realize as a person as well.
Yep.
That even though I might not be able to call the Coles CEO and be like, yo, get your game together.
Yeah.
I can go in there and get a plant-based burger, and now they have a freaking range bigger than almost. I'm not going to say almost catching up to the animal section.
Yeah.
There's so much animals,
Yeah.
but it's growing so much, and it's insane.
It used to be one item. Now there's a whole section.
It used to
which
be just
is-
tofu, man.
which is incredible. Even on that, like I know there's a quote that's like, "We can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone." And I think one person transitioning and not using water bottles or coffee cups or stuff like that, one person over that whole year can make a big difference
Seriously.
and then inspire someone else. So that's why using your keep cups for coffee, post it. You inspire others. Again, me saying that I'm plant-based, not in a way that like every post is I'm plant-based, but showing that I use, and like the sponsors on the podcast, for my podcast, it's like they have to be, ethically, they have to give back to the community. Otherwise, it doesn't align with me. And the materials they use and all of that. Like I want to see that they're using these things. And I think in terms of business, in terms of influencers, in terms of the world in business, they can make those choices. And I think it also comes down to the accessibility of that.
So are you pretty fine cut ruthless if a business is not eco-friendly, and they could be? If you're like
For a sponsorship?
I think in general, like, would you give your dollar to someone who doesn't have a plastic? Like, obviously, we want to keep cups bloody everywhere in your bag, in your car, and freaking get few. And coffee places are selling them now, so there's no excuse. Where would you draw the line?
So, have I been into a coffee place that's a big retail chain that does not offer biodegradable cups? Yes.
Yes.
I think where I can and where I'm aware, I'll make that choice. There are times where it's like, okay, and this, probably a bad attitude to have is this one time.
Yeah.
But I know, like, if you look at my day, there's, a lot less than what it used to be.
Oh, for sure.
And it's not about, I think you're not about being perfect and going,
No.
look, if you can go completely plastic free in your whole life, hell yeah. Like,
That's freaking dope.
do that. But do what you can, the best you can. And it means that you need to be prepared and bring your bags. You need to be prepared and wash your keep cup and bring it. You know that all that's going to make a difference.
It does. It genuinely almost frustrates me when I get a smoothie with a freaking plastic straw in it. Especially, and there's a few vegan places I know that still use plastic.
There's like spaghetti for that now, I think. There's bamboo, there's
so many options.
Yeah.
So many. Like, I would really, if I'm reviewing a place and I see that they use plastic, I think very hard about even if they have like the best burgers in town, they've got like 5,000 5-star reviews, they're probably not getting on. Because it's such a simple, like, plastic straws, sure, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
and this is where it goes to, like, I was selling these things as well. It's that 2 cent, 4 cent, 5 to 10 cent gap that costs them millions on the back end. And I think whenever there's money involved, stakeholders sometimes don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They just want the money at the end of the day. And that's what's going to drive our world and our economy into the shit, and our environment into the place we don't want it to go. But in saying that, I'm optimistic because a lot of people are making that shift. Now, the other part is also having the facilities to recycle. Now, we've seen a lot going on in China. We've seen a lot of our plants here closing down because contamination, no money, no funding. And yeah, I think that there's so much that could be done by the government, that could be done by us as voters, taxpayers and all that.
Yeah.
To set up these facilities. Because if we had, again, that coffee would contaminate that whole bin, they just chuck it straight in the bin. The recycling plants shut down and they were just taking everything to the tips.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be something in place because we can do all the right things, but if those right things aren't going to the right places, we've done our part, but that's all we can really do at the end of the day.
But it's always, I think it comes down to just believing in yourself that you have the power to make this change. Like bringing around a bamboo cutlery kit when you travel, I think is, because like, especially in Europe, mainly plastic is so used there. So much more than Australia or America, because we're more conscious about that. I think at a government level, yes, there needs to be like a tax surcharge or a levy on certain things.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, when you're going into that voting booth, no, who don't like randomly tick things. It's just, what are you, 13? Like, come on.
Yeah.
You need to be a functioning member of society now.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you have a bamboo kit that you take
yeah,
around?
I have a bamboo kit
Yeah.
that I take. I think I bought one recently. I don't know if it's treated or not, but I'll give it a crack, see if I get stopped in Egypt or
Do you have a sponsorship?
for a bamboo
Yeah.
cutlery kit. No, I don't for a bamboo cutlery kit.
Now I'm watching and listening.
Hook me up. I was gonna say, on top of all that, now you've traveled quite a bit in the last few years. Um, what is like a tangible tip or two you can leave someone for traveling or cooking or whatever it is that you find very helpful and super easy?
I think cooking where possible, but I understand that sometimes when you're in a hotel, like it's kind of hard. You might not have your own kind of kitchen set up, and I think that there's always options. There's always places you can go to. There's always options at wherever you go to. I think I went to it was Seville in Spain mid last year, and the tapas was incredible. Have you been?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, man. And like the options they had that were on the menu, but like, and maybe you have to change a few sometimes. But I had like 5 different dishes that were like €4 each.
Yeah.
That was a massive meal, and it was so delicious. And yeah, sometimes it's hard because in let's say Argentina, everything is a grill with meat. So I was having salad and fries at a lot of places. But I think you can be prepared. Listen to Tom's podcast because I'm definitely getting some tips from all the places that you go to. But also, yeah, do some research. You can literally just look up vegan places in Madrid, vegan places in Rome, and it'll come up with the good
Good old
places.
Google or Happy Cow.
Yeah.
I was interviewing Bridie Reed, who like she runs World Vegan Travel, like the
Yep.
company, and she's like, look, she was vegan for ages, like vegetarian for almost her whole life, and she's like, look, I've traveled enough to know that I'm never gonna starve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're never gonna go somewhere and be like, oh yeah, nah, water it is, thanks. Like
Nah.
you're always like, there's gonna be some repetitive meals. You're gonna have a few pasta dishes just with tomato. You're gonna have a few just potato chips, but like
Yeah.
you're never gonna be like famine.
Yeah, no. I think maybe people think that they go to a restaurant and they go, I can't have anything, and it's like there is options. There's so many options
So
at
many.
places.
Um, now I'm gonna start wrapping it up because life. Is there anything you wanted to leave people with, vegan, travel, conscious related, coach related, anything that you've struggled with that you wish you knew,
Hmm.
or feels all yours, mate?
Wow, there's so much to say, but I think that what's really important is, and something I've noticed in the world, is that life is too short to not like who you are and to not enjoy the life you live. Now, if you choose to live a plant-based lifestyle, enjoy it, look after yourself, but then also just to remember that you're worthy, you're loved, and you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And that may be if someone's, having an argument with you, like you believe this, I believe that you should eat meat or whatever, that remember that it's only them. Like it's their views on themselves. You living your life in accordance to your values is all that matters. And if like if you try to force your values onto someone else, you're going to equal disappointed because they're not going to live by it because it's not their values. And if they try to put their values onto you, you're going to be disappointed because if you start living those values, they're not yours. So once you get in alignment with your values, you'll become happier. You'll start to radiate. You'll start to live a life that you love. And, hopefully that's plant-based. Hopefully that's friendly to the environment. And if you do that, you'll inspire so many people to make that shift as well. For myself, that was something that stood out, is that so many of my clients, so many of my friends have tried it because I never forced it on them. I just lived my life as authentic and real as I could, and they've seen the benefits, and they're like, "Man, I want what you're having." And it's like, yeah, it's a chickpea burger. It's green juice. So it's just do your thing, and that'll inspire people. And never get too caught up in the judgments of other people, especially if they're having, again, their values are then putting judgment on you for how you live your life. Live yours. Don't put that judge on anyone else, and you'll live a lot happier life and fulfilled life. So that's a quick wrap up of
That's a
what I
quick
would
wrap.
share.
No, that's really cool. Another way to think of it is, man, you're gonna go to the shop and you're gonna go to the top section. There's gonna be like size freaking 10 to 22. If you put on 16, that's not gonna fit you. That doesn't mean it's a bad fit. It's not your fit.
Mm-hmm.
Someone else, you're gonna look at 16 like, this is just what I've been looking for. It's about getting the one that you want and not judging any of the other sizes.
Yeah, if you go to the supermarket and you're in the vegan section and you're buying stuff and filling up your basket, and someone's standing next to you in the section that's the meat section, and they're going,
What is that?
"What? Oh, that person's getting that. I might try that." It's that curiosity, and you will see, the vegan section start to grow and the other sections start to shrink and hopefully go away. But I think that big changes in your life, in other people's lives, they take time. They're a process.
For sure.
You can definitely make choices today and tomorrow that are going to make a big impact, but don't expect everyone to go plant-based overnight, and don't expect everyone in this generation or in this lifetime right now to agree with what you agree with. It's definitely going to be a transition, and we're on a good optimistic journey right now. I think it's only going to get better for everyone and the world.
Absolutely. Well, you produce a lot of content. You got the Conscious podcast. You've got where can people find you?
Yeah, so Instagram's my main handle, Carlo_Cirillo, Cirillo.
One more time. That's Carlo_Cirillo, Cirillo.
That's the one. My website's the same, carlocirillo.com. That's where my daily inspiration on quotes, posts, mindset, all that goodness, consciousness.
And you have the Conscious Pod.
Yeah, the Conscious Podcast as well.
Plug yourself, bro.
Yeah, go check it out. Tom's been on it. It was a sick episode. Go check that one out. And there's an episode every week talking to inspiring individuals that have, gone on their path of gaining consciousness, but through the tough times, through the challenging times to be where they are right now. And it's again, I do what I love and I love what I do. Love what I do. I get to talk to incredible people like you every day. And yeah, being able to listen to another person's journey and then take inspiration from that is powerful. So, yeah, and thanks for having me on. Like this is awesome. It's always great to share space with you. So
always,
I appreciate you.
Always a good time when I see your smile.
Yeah.
Pleasure, brother. Until next time.
Great connection. Love ya.
Thanks so much for watching and listening all the way through. Please go check out Carlo's socials. He does amazing, amazing work there. And if you have an opportunity to go to one of his keynotes or one of his events, please do, because they can literally be life-changing. As always, if you want to share the love with this podcast, please share it to a friend, leave a review. Any questions, you can find him on Instagram and on TikTok at How to Travel Vegan. Much love. Peace.